Hello, and we're live on your Wealthy Brand Wednesday here on your Perfectly Imperfect brand. How is this supportive community? Are you doing what you're doing, what you need to do for you to monetize with your brand, first serving and then selling and doing what you need to do? How are you on a Wednesday right before Thanksgiving? I hope you're doing well. And I want to welcome Cris Belmonte. She is straight from Italy right now, right? You're in Italy right now?
I am, yes.
It's awesome, but you're a native of Brazil, right?
That is correct.
It is so awesome. I love this multicultural backgrounds we have and diversity. So, Cris, I want to introduce her to you guys. She's a specialist in conscious leadership development for the fashion industry, and I love that. Her goal is to reset a mindset with the industry to a more harmonious development and relationship within the company by assisting middle management and C-suite positions. Do you want to tell us more about what you do, Cris, especially in the fashion industry?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So, I am a fashion designer by profession. I have a background in psychology. So, as I was in the industry and I was working, I used to have my own brand, and I could see there were so many things that went wrong with the industry in so many ways because it was very unhuman. It was very money driven and, deadlines, and the designers didn't have a life, and anyone who was working within the designs didn't have a life. And there's just so much, and then we could talk about waste and pollution, and there's just so much that it really got me thinking, something needs to change. And it's not about changing one by one, but if we can, I wanted to target someone who was the head of the company. And then from there, pyramid down to everybody else, and then hopefully helping change the mindset within the industry and have something a little bit more breathable. So that's how the idea came about.
So what were you doing first within the industry? Were you a designer? Were you in the seamstress? Were you?
No, I'm a fashion designer, so I build a collection, but I know I sew and I do a little bit of everything. Of course, I was focused more on being the fashion designer and running the company. So I was a CEO/CFO. I was doing a little bit too much of what I should be focusing more on one thing, but at the end of the day, I was doing a little bit of everything. And at the end, I was just really focused on developing the collection and putting the collection to sale and finding collaborations on how to sell the collection. But it was really hard. It's really hard to make a new brand to surface, especially here in Italy, in Milan. So
wow. And then when you realize that, how have you been able to change those paradigms or those ways?
Well, right off the start, when we had the first collection, I played by the book. I did everything that you're supposed to do, as the industry says it's supposed to do. And it literally brought me to my first burnout. And I almost ended up in a hospital. It was really, really bad because I am not used to that kind of pressure, because I don't believe in that kind of pressure. So that's when I took a couple of weeks back and I said something needs to change. And I started within my small little group to build a more humane way to work. So I built a calendar where we had the entire year planned out, and I was more attentive to listening to the people who worked for me and the people who I collaborated with. So all the factories and the people who were providing me the fabrics and the buttons and everything else. So I started to develop this more harmonious and friendship kind of relationship. Still business. It's business is business, but with a lot of love and a lot of humanity. So we started to implement that, and it really helped. We would have regular meetings where I would listen to the needs and how things could be done and how things could not be done. And we could track our steps and track them forward. And that is when things started to change and really take a toll to a better path, for sure.
Absolutely. I love it, love it, love it. That human touch is significant and it can be so wonderful. Okay, so how do you translate this into a Wealthy Wednesday for building your brand? What advice do you have for this community?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, since I'm talking about the brand, when I had the brand, something that you have to be really resilient. You have to really think outside the box in many ways, how you can do things. So I would search for partners all the time. I would search for people to come in and, dressing the clothes and helping this and helping that. And maybe sometimes I could even bring someone in. And that way I could bring awareness, because it's really more about bringing awareness to who you are, right? There's a sea of people doing so many things that it's very hard to find one person just doing one thing. And even so, you need to show yourself up, right? So that was the one thing that I decided that needed to be done to bring more wealth into my company, was bringing awareness. And by that, I was doing a lot of partnerships. And one thing that I did that really helped was getting involved with the government. Wow. Both the Brazilian government here, the consulate, and the Italian government. So, I was awarded what was it called in English? Let me translate that. It was the Brazilian emerging designer recognition for the Camera of Commerce.
The Chamber of Commerce, yeah.
So, exactly. But, I had to really grind to get to that place. And, that's really good, because I had investors coming in and wanting to know more about me and my business. And that's how I got into other places. So it's really about, I believe that wealth is really built on grit, on how much you work. And it's not about working a lot all the time, but smart. And then choosing your collaborations correctly. It's not just, hundreds of people have hundreds of amazing ideas, and they're all $1 million ideas. But which one is practical? Which one is actually moving the needle to you? And how much are you willing to invest? And then, we can talk here about how to build partnerships and how do you relate to them. It's really like, there is some sort of dance to it, that you have to feel yourself comfortable with that person. The person has to be comfortable with you. And my thermometer here on that is always having the same goal. So what is your goal? Your goal is for something to be better in this way or that way. Okay, so we talk the same language in a way. And that really helps me. But, that's one thing. That's what I did back then. And now I have this different business. I ended up sort of leaving the designer position to help this place. So maybe one day I can come back. Who knows? I don't know. But one thing that I like doing a lot is, and it helps me a lot on that, is just sitting with other people from other industries and learning about their industry and talking to them. And we exchange our knowledge, we exchange our experiences. We ended up helping each other, and they always know somebody. I always know somebody, and we end up networking in that way. So that helps amazing. A lot too. That helps a lot. I've gotten clients by sitting at a cafe and we started talking. I was talking to the bartender, and he knew of somebody who was looking for someone who did what I do. And, I ended up landing a job.
Oh, wow. A job or a client?
Well, it was a job. It was a job. He needed help. I'm still thinking if I'm going to work with him as a client, but he needed help in a specific thing. So I set that up and I got that done. But like I said, there's the synergy, and it's great to understand who you work for and who works for you and how much that is going to help you. So I'm a fair believer in having that straight in front of you. So, it's less tiring and more pleasurable to work with. It's not something that you're like, oh, I have to do this, because I don't believe that helps in any way. And your business, the business becomes a little bit fatiguish. Is that a word?
Yeah, I don't even know. But yeah, you were almost gonna go on a breakdown, that first time, right? Because you were overworked and maybe not following that passion and not in a good environment. So you have mentioned many things here, that human touch is important. Networking and collaborating is just perfect for this. Sometimes we think that we can do it all alone, and I have had so much joy being the reporter, right, to others, and I have learned, and we think okay, I contribute with your tribe, you contribute with my tribe, and it's a win-win situation. So that is amazing. So how else? What else can you tell this perfectly imperfect brand to show up, to think serving first and then selling, but then to create also a wealthy brand?
A wealthy brand. Well, wow, that's such a broad subject though. It's so hard to just sit here and talk, for a few minutes because there are so many aspects of it. But I do believe that, I in my business I work with a pyramid. I call the path pyramid. And there are 3 steps of the pyramid, which is the foundation where you start, your path, and your goal. And you should always start with your goal in mind. And the reason why I teach that to my clients, in order also for them to be prosperous in their work, because that's something that I also develop in the business, is because when you have a main goal clear, you have not only the vision, but you understand the vision clearly and you know exactly what you want. It's natural that life will try and shift that and to test you, because we get tested all the time. So once you have that very clear, and even though like you could see a different path showing up, like an opportunity, and if it's not resonating with your end goal, then it's not something that you should do. Maybe it's something that you should put aside, maybe something that you should wait, and then you keep going on that path. So that builds a lot more confidence in yourself to keep working and believing in yourself. And something that is really important to remember, and I'm trying to pitch in everything that I can think of is really important and fundamental, is that sometimes your support group is yourself. And well, yeah, almost all the time, right? When you're an entrepreneur, of course. So believe that you have a message. And that's why I say I come back to the clear vision. When you have that very clear inside of you and you understand exactly the purpose of your work and what you want to do and what you want to change and how you want it to work and everything that you envision, understand that vision. Why do you want that vision? Is it because you see someone doing it and you want that for you? So is that right for you that you want something that someone else is doing? Why is that resonating with you? Should you translate that into something that you want to do and actually come up with something more concrete to yourself, more clear to you? So it's really about having clarity. And once you have that, you're not afraid to go out and talk to people and pitch. It's easier for you because you're very comfortable with it. You're in your element. It's very important to be in your element, and being in your element in your business is understanding your business. It's understanding the goal of your business. It's understanding what you want out of this and how do you want this to be helping other people.
Oh my goodness, you nailed it. You nailed it there. Being hyper-focused and very clear on your goal and mission and vision is just amazing. It needs to happen. And it's not that easy sometimes. We think of great ideas, like you were saying, and we're like, I want to help. And I was just I ended like a marketing research call and also a group coaching call. And people were still having a hard time dialing in to who is it that they're serving. Why is it that they're serving them, and how is it that they're serving them? So it is a process. It's a journey. I have been in my business for 4 years or more, like 5 or 6 years. And sometimes I have a hard time to portraying or expressing with the copy, right? With the words, with the explanations on LinkedIn, on your social media platforms. Because sometimes not every time you offer a product. Okay, I sell phones. I sell chairs, I sell a service that's kind of intangible, that is going to produce intangible results that will manifest with tangible actions and progress that people can create. But it's so hard sometimes to be clear in what is it that you want. And so what would you say, Cris, will be one thing that helps people, business owners, and in their brands to be clear about who they serve and why they're serving it?
Discipline.
Ooh.
Discipline is a big deal, because when you're searching for discipline, you ought to have other things such as focus. such
Yeah.
as clarity, such as peace. It's very important for you to have peace of mind. So, just a little bit of a couple of things that you can look for is, first of all, what does your work area look like?
Hmm.
What does it tell about your business? Is it messy? Is it
Hmm.
dirty?
I'm
Is it
looking around.
well, honey, listen, I assure you, there's always a little something on my table as
Yeah.
well, especially with my kids jumping around. I find Play-Doh everywhere. But it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Disruption is natural, and it's there to help us keep steady. So it will happen. It will happen. It will disrupt. You make coffee, it will get cold. You will, whatever you do, there's disruption to it. And that's fine. It's
Right.
part of the job. It's okay to don't be so hard on yourself. It's fine. But it is important for you to have that discipline to
Right.
know this needs to be clear. This needs to be done. What are the messages that you're feeding yourself? For instance, what kind of music do you listen to? What is the message in that music? What is it telling you? What is it getting into your glands, into your brain? It's subliminal and it gets in there. It sticks in there. What kind of movies are you watching? Are you watching too much news that, are telling you about things that are not so great? There's death every day in the news, especially now. There's horrible things
Right.
happening. Do you need to know all the details? Really? So those things, they help you understand how to get focused and discipline, because you need to be really focused to be disciplined. When you wake up and it's really cold outside, especially now here in the North Hemisphere, it's getting colder, and you just really want to stay in bed and stay with your dreams, or do you want to get up and work on your dream? That's
Wow.
it takes a lot of discipline for you to do that, and a lot of will of power. But in order for you to have that will of power, you need to understand your vision. It's not having the vision. It's really easy to have a vision. You can envision yourself living in a mansion. You can envision yourself having a yacht. You can envision yourself going into a store and buying thousands and thousands of whatever currency you live in. But do you understand that? Do you understand how important that is? Because servitude is a really high place. It's a really, really, really hard place of a lot of responsibility, because people were looking up to you.
Right.
And I don't mean to, put more weight in the position here, in the situation, but I do want to bring awareness to the responsibility that we have when we're business owners, because we have people who depend on us, and we have people who will look up to us. So we
Right.
become mirrors. And the clarity that we get, it's so healthy. Which, there is something that I love when I get to this point with my clients, is talking about the spirituality in business. And this is nothing to do with religion, absolutely nothing to do with religion. It's the inner part. And yes, we have our inner self and we have our inner development, but there is a spiritual side to the business as well, to the business itself. And it needs to be cured and it needs to be understood.
That's
So
true.
all these things, they resonate with how clear your vision is. And the more you understand, the more you have a clear goal, the more you have understanding of who you are and what you want, it becomes much easier. And don't get me wrong, I know I struggle a lot still when I have to come to these things, because there's a lot of meditation to it. I mean, you have to find your cup of tea. Is it meditating? Is it, me? So I have I have two clients who chose to draw, they're drawing, and one of them is doing mandala. And I have an entire program that I taught them how to do it. And through that, we're pulling out their clear vision of understanding, which has been really amazing, actually. So you really have to understand, what is the music that you dance with? What's the language that you have with yourself? And try to shut everything out a little, just a little.
Yeah.
There is a moment of solitude in entrepreneurship. And actually it's most of the time, honestly. We are alone a lot of the times, because there's a lot about self-development when we talk about developing a business, right? Because it's us to the world.
Right.
So you have to understand yourself. The more you grow, the more your business grow. So humbleness is a part of that too. Be humble. We don't know everything. We don't reach the top. We're reaching the top. There is always a new top to be conquered. There is always a new place, a new face for you to achieve. Keep that motivation going. You're never done.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. You have provided a lot of wisdom, a lot of energy. I love it. I feel it all the way from Italy to Dallas, Texas. So thank you so much. And yes, saying yes to determination, to dial into your vision, it's important. So I look forward to see the comments on people that will watch it as a replay. Tell Cris, what is your vision? What is your goal? Yeah, how are you doing on today, Wednesday, your Wealthy Wednesday with your brand, your perfectly imperfect brand? She's even said, hey, it's a work in progress, right? We all are a work in progress. So thank you so much for your time, Cris. And good luck all the way to Italy. So do you celebrate? Are you going to celebrate Thanksgiving or no?
We definitely are. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wonderful.
Very, very, very small, but it's my favorite time of the year.
Awesome. So you have a great one. And if you want to stay with me after I end the broadcast, but it was great to see you. And I wish this community a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I'm grateful for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.